Good morning. I am Steve Weber. Welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show on Wednesday, February 3rd. So a little change in plans today. Nicci Roscoe was going to join us, but about an hour ago, I got a message from her. She will not be able to make it. So we will get Nicci rescheduled ASAP, and we'll life happens. And so unavoidable things, but it's all good. And we'll just reschedule Nicci. So that's that. Alrighty. So I'm going to do an abbreviated show today. I'm just going to go ahead and do the monologue that I had prepared. Since I learned that she, wouldn't be here today, but we will get her back in probably in a couple weeks. I expanded my monologue a little bit. So I'm expecting 20 minutes or so. Abbreviated show. We'll get in, we'll get out. Again, it was the monologue I had planned to do, but it's all good for and it's called clarity. So I've got clarity, or at least I'm getting more and more clear about what I'm doing. And one of the things I'm clear about is that life happens, and you just go with the flow of things, and it's all good. It's all good. And it's all actually working out exactly the way it's supposed to work out. I do believe that. I am a law of attraction fan, and I'll tie in my law of attraction to the clarity part, and it should be an interesting conversation. All righty. Now, get to that monologue in a minute. Let me just tell you what's happening the rest of this week, and I'll tease you a little bit with next week. So tomorrow, Malika Paranosik. She is a composer and a performance artist. She immigrated to the U.S. as a young lady, attended the Juilliard School of Music. She's still on the faculty there. She's doing wonderful work up in New York City, and we'll talk about the nonprofit and the composing work and the work she's doing with different films and different productions. So that's going to be tomorrow's conversation. That'll be a fun conversation. All right, looking forward to that. Friday and Monday, I do not have a guest at this point. I'm planning to do a live broadcast both of those days. So I'll maybe do a monologue only, or I'll have a guest. There's lots of people that I've been, talking with, and we're going to get scheduled. And, so one of those people could fill right in the meantime. So we'll just see. Now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday next week, I do have guests scheduled. Tuesday, Stacy Lamar King. He's a gentleman I met on LinkedIn a couple years ago, and he penned a post a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to have him come on and talk about what he talked about in the writing of his post. But basically, he was a Army or Marine. I think a Marine. I think now, and I apologize for not knowing that. But he came back from serving in the Iraq War and had some post-traumatic stress syndrome, but he just dove right into his work, and he succeeded. And then all of a sudden it kind of crashed, and, he needed to kind of reevaluate his life. So we're going to talk about that. And what we're going to talk about is what guys don't talk about. And so this is going to be a good conversation. I'm very excited to have Stacy Lamar King next Tuesday. Don Lynch is an energy body transformer, a little bit on the woof side of things, similar to what we talked about yesterday, with Angie LaRue, but the work's different that he's doing. So Don Lynch will join us next Wednesday. And then on Friday, Dory Morales, who is the publisher of Green Living Magazine, Conscious Living. So we like conscious living here at the American Gumption Morning Show. So I'm excited to have Dory come in and talk about what the work that she's doing. All right. So that's next Friday, a week from this Friday. So we've got some good guests coming up here the next week, and excited about all that. All righty. Let me shift gears and get into the monologue. And like I said, I think this will take maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then I'll just wrap up today's show. And so the title of the monologue is Clarity, and it could have been titled Lack of Clarity, but I'm calling it Clarity. And so let me just, I looked up the dictionary definition of clarity, clearness or lucidity as to perception or understanding. So let's just say clearness of understanding. And the second part of the definition is freedom from indistinctiveness or ambiguity, freedom from ambiguity. And so when I'm talking about most of what I'm talking about, I had a great sense of unclarity, unclearness. I didn't have freedom from ambiguity. I had ambiguity. And I'll tell that little bit about that story over like kind of a 10-year period and kind of how I got to that point. And then the realization about a month ago that I have a lot more clarity today than I did, over these last 10 years. So this is the kind of the purpose of it. My definition, or my first thing I thought about, was that it's confidence. Clarity equals confidence, and it's confidence in what you want, confidence in where you're going, and confidence in what you're supposed to be doing with your life. And I had gotten to the point that I didn't have a lot of confidence in what I wanted and in where I was going and in what I was supposed to be doing with my life. And that really became the search for meaning, Viktor Frankl's idea, right? Search for meaning, that I went on in this journey and the last 10 years or so. So you've heard bits and pieces of all of this story, but we're kind of reframing it around the idea of clarity. So I had moved to Montana in 2006, 7, 8. Okay, it took me a couple of years to get there. I made the decision in 2006. By 2007 and 8, I was kind of on my way there, but I was really still living back in California, like at least 50% of the time. So I was kind of going back and forth. And what had happened was the dream, the Montana vision, started in 2003, 2004, end of 2003, beginning of 2004. So I was like, I'm going to get some property up there and I'm going to move to Montana someday. That was sort of the original plan. And then over the next several years, I, kind of started filling in what that plan looked like. And there was a lot of unknowns, but I was filling it up with ideas that I had. And I kind of went full speed ahead with this idea that I had. And so by the time it got to 2006, I said, okay, I'm going to move to Montana. And then that set in motion a whole lot more things happening. So then the plan was becoming more of a reality. And then, of course, it happened over the next couple of years. So by the end of 2008, 2009, now I'm living there in Montana. Well, that was exactly the time that the real estate market crashed. And I had all of my assets tied up in real estate. And I was way overextended in terms of being prepared to deal with that real estate market crash. And I had given up a good portion of my income working with Bubba Gump at the time, going to more of a part-time schedule. And so I was in a heap of trouble. And so the exact moment, more or less, the exact moment I arrived in Montana is the exact moment that all of this. So the plan, the Montana dream, was unraveling. Like at the moment that I'm really finally living there, the original plan and vision was out the window and falling apart. So as a result of that, I lost my confidence, and I asked myself, questions like, why did I do this? You stupid idiot. You should have known better. Why didn't you figure this out ahead of time? And I kind of berated myself with all that kind of stuff. There was a time period where I did that. But anyway, you kind of go through this process. Well, how are you going to clean all this stuff up? And so I had this mess, and I used to use the analogy that I had a friend who I would tell her, I said, I've got all these messes in my life, I was stretched out in a variety of different ways, and they were kind of all falling apart. And so I said, I was just using the analogy of like like a construction site where you would sweep up piles of mess and debris into a corner, and then you have to take that pile of mess and you have to pick it up and take it outside and clean it, throw it away, put it in the dumpster, and then you come back in and you look around and you go, okay, that pile of mess over there, I got to go sweep that up, and I was doing all of that. And so anyway, that was kind of what I felt like my life was like for a couple of years, the first couple of year period when I had first arrived in Montana. In the meantime, I'm trying to figure out how to, transition from being an entertainer working essentially for Bubba Gump, and to being more of a freelancer, doing speaking gigs and that sort of thing. So I'm trying to invent this, this new life for myself. And quite frankly, it was, much more challenging and difficult. So I had this combination of like trying to go be creative and do something new and clean up the mess that I had and the debris that had been left over from just life happening, right? I made decisions years earlier and then things happened and, I had to do a transition. So anyway, that was the beginning of the unclear period, right? I was clear in what I wanted to do and go to Montana. And I had a plan, but then I got there and it didn't work out. And so in the meantime, now I'm living here and I'm there. And I'm feeling really good about like I like this place. I like Montana. And it was great. It was like, the mountains, and it was just a wonderful spot to be in. And I started doing this personal development work. And that was when the year of transformation, and I got into that and I went, okay, great. That we're going to figure this out. We're going to reinvent yourself. And, that opened up all kinds of cans of worms in terms of like when you go, well, what do I believe? Well, once you open up that and you go, well, what are my beliefs? That takes, that like cans of worms. It just was like never ending, or it was a big challenge. So as I went through this, like, let's say 2009, 10, 11, they were the beginning of this transformation period, but they were also kind of the dark period in terms of like, I was still reeling from, choices and decisions that I had made, cleaning up these messes, and then, but not sure where I wanted to go next, and not feeling like super urgent to like make a decision, because like I was living in a great place and I loved the mountains and I felt like I was in a safe place. But I was unclear about what it was. So at this point, if you take the story and you go, okay, that was the part where like there was this like automobile accident, crash, you get injured, you're bleeding, the first thing you do, you stop the bleeding, you stabilize the patient, and then, you eventually let them heal and clean up. So that kind of was what was happening in my life. I felt like, everything had kind of crashed and unraveled, and then, you stabilize things and then you go. So now the next 6 years, like 2012 to 2018, I was in this like stable environment, but I certainly wasn't what I would call like a thriving, I was like kind of a healing patient type of thing. And I didn't have my confidence back fully. I had lots of little pieces, and I always felt like I was on the right path with the whole thing, but I was like kind of going along and, like a little step, a little step, a little step. And the good news was there were no more like major steps backwards, right? The major step backwards had already, the big event had happened and changed everything. But exactly what goes next, you're just not sure. And so you're going along and you're going along and you're going along. So, so then, 2018, I realized that, okay, I need to, it's time to it's time to make some changes again. So I hadn't made, like I'd gotten to this point where I was stabilized and I was like going along and I was doing all this like little stuff that felt good and felt like the right thing to do, keep moving forward, again, regaining clarity, regaining confidence in what I'm supposed to do, but being a little bit gun shy about it. And I remember the whole time I was like, oh, as soon as I figure this out, I'll be able to go. As soon as I understand, as soon as I make a plan, I can go again. And I just couldn't make a plan. I just couldn't decide what was really the, the next step, what was really I'm supposed to be doing, with this whole thing. So, so there was a very clear, clarity, very clear idea that I was unclear. And if I'm a law of attraction fan, and I come to understand law of attraction. What you think about, you get more of. Well, I was focused on unclarity that, most of that whole time. Unclear, non-clarity was the dominant thing I was thinking about all of that time. And so what happens, right? Law of attraction, you end up getting more unclarity. You're focusing on unclarity so much, lack of clarity, that, lack of clarity kept repeating and showing up. So 2018, 2019, make the decision, get rid of everything, leave Montana, spend, the better part of 18, 20 months just sort of massively downsizing and changing and, getting ready to leave. And of course, go out and start the American Gumption project, which is what I'm doing now. So now fast forward to this couple of events that Spirituality Gone Wild did at the end of the year. And I was a guest on one of David Strickle's show. And he was talking about clarity and about purpose. And I thought about it and I went, oh my gosh, I haven't been focused on my lack of clarity the last, really since I started doing the show. Started doing this morning show back on August 3rd. It focused my mind on that, and I started doing it, and I've been doing it, mostly every day of the week since then, 5 days a week. And you go along, and suddenly, like, the lack of clarity is like I got clarity over the fact that I hadn't been focusing most of my attention on the fact that I don't have clarity on where I'm supposed to go with my life. So it's just sort of a very interesting phenomena, and it's an example of the law of attraction and exactly how it works. Now, maybe I needed to go through that period, and so I'm not going to, lay so much blame on the idea that if you're not clear, somehow you're bad. But how can you, in my case, maybe I could have taken like some kind of action before, but I wasn't sure what action to take, And so anyway, you get rid of stuff, you move, you start a morning show, you join Spirituality Gone Wild, and clarity has returned, or at least the focus on lack of clarity is gone, or at least it was, until I'm mentioning it today, it wasn't a focus thing. And I realized that, like I said, about a month ago when I appeared on David Strickle's show, and, we just had this conversation. I wasn't even participating. I was just listening to other people talk. And I realized that, oh my gosh, I had focused so much on the fact of lack of clarity that suddenly I realized that I'm not focusing on that anymore. I'm busy, I'm doing things, and I'm getting more and more clear in the direction that American Gumption, here I could change my banner. I didn't usually do that during the beginning of the thing. American Gumption is really where the focus is, and the clarity is coming to fruition, getting clearer. It keeps expanding in terms of what is going to happen. The visit with Serenity Sam last Saturday on her show, the interview segment I did with her on Monday, these are all adding to this clarity idea. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. And I brought that up because we were going to talk about Nicci's, Nicci being here today. I wouldn't have gone on this long about it, but she has a new course, Love Yourself, Manifest Happiness, Abundance, and Romance. And all of that manifest happiness, abundance, romance, that's all part of this clarity that's coming forth. And so that was what made me think of that. So that's, that's it. How do I sum it up and just close out? The idea that we want to be clear, man's search for meaning, Viktor Frankl, the search for meaning. This has been my, like a 10-year quest. And there was a time over this a good portion of that time, I felt like, what is meaning? I'm searching for meaning. And then suddenly I was like, well, actually I'm finding meaning, and I'm not focusing on searching for meaning. I'm meaning is coming into my life. And this is a good thing, right? This is a good thing. And this is a great thing. So to be continued, more and more, more and more clarity coming up over the next few months and certainly the next year or two. Very exciting time. So that's it for the American Gumption show today. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it up. I'll let you know that tomorrow, Malika Paranosik. She's a composer and a performance artist living in New York City, originally from Belgrade, Serbia, came here as a young lady, attended Juilliard School, and she is currently a member of the faculty there. So she's doing this awesome work in terms of musical performance and the arts. And it's going to be a fun conversation. So that's tomorrow. And then next week on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, I have Stacey Lamar King Wednesday, Don Lynch on Wednesday, and did I say that? Stacey Lamar King on Tuesday, Don Lynch on Wednesday, and Dory Morales, the publisher of Green Living Magazine, next Friday, a week from Friday. So that's what's all coming up, and that's it, everybody. 10:21, right on time. I said it might be about 21 minutes. So have a great rest of your day. I appreciate your being here. I see my friend Saf Buxey checking in from the UK. Thank you, Saf, for being here. Saf's got a great show, a couple great shows here on Spirituality Gone Wild. And he's also a TV star on UK television. And he's also got a book coming out, coming up, and he's attending the, book publishing thing in, I don't know where, in Abu Dhabi or somewhere. He'll tell me where it is. So anyway, thanks, Saf, for checking in. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll get Nicci rescheduled here as soon as it works out with her schedule and my schedule. So we'll see Nicci soon. All right. That's it. Have a great day.